Far from perfect, trust me. You know, 4-0 in the turnover ratio against us, had not turned it over going into the game one time and still won by 2 scores. But defense really responded to every one of those turnovers. There's a lot of corrections to make, but it was a good effort, a gutty effort. You know, you could feel the fans out there. I'm glad that they, you know, keep improving in the attendance area. You know, I thought that was a good turnout. And, you know, good's the enemy of great. So let's have a great turnout. Let's sell it out. Let's sell it out next week, you know, or next time we're at home, and figure out how to make it even louder. Because that's what we want to do. We want to be the best in everything we do, right? So we should, you know, even when we're good, even when we perform good, we're not satisfied, okay? But it was a good turnout. And so we're 5-0, and 57 years. I'm older than that, by the way. But this isn't the end, you know, for us. So I'm proud of the team and everything they've accomplished. I felt like we've made good progress in the off season, in winter, spring, summer, but we had to put it on the field. So we can play better when we play today.
Man, on your left is Zach.
Coach, you talked last week that adversity was coming. You mentioned the 4 turnovers. You gave up a long touchdown run. Just your thoughts on your team's ability to overcome that, and how beneficial can this be going forward when you have more adversity?
There were a lot of good responses in that game. The defense responded to offensive turnovers. The offense responded to touchdowns given up by the defense, and we responded more than they did. And so there was really a lot that went on in that game. There's no doubt about it. And winning is good because it deepens belief and confidence and success, which leads to confidence and belief, which leads to success, right? Still got to put the work in, but strengthens that confidence and belief.
Zach, on your left, and Liz.
Kind of in the same vein, you talk about your team's energy, just how important, maybe impressive in your mind, maybe it wasn't, but just that no matter what the setback was, whether it was some Maryland success offensively, a turnover, whatever, it just kind of kept the energy up. They kept just coming after Maryland on both sides of the ball.
Well, that's us. We want to play every play like it's nothing. Never too high, never too low. And you know, something bad happens. Okay, you know, we're gonna play this play. And you get 11 guys playing that way consistently, then you got a chance.
Liz on your left, and Sam.
I know, without watching the film, but the defensive line in terms of getting a consistent rush on Billy Edwards and being disruptive, how important is that to kind of the overall effectiveness of that group today? And it didn't rotate a whole lot with those starters. You know, they played more than they have all season. How impressed were you kind of with their sustained effort today?
Yeah, well, I don't know how many sacks we had total. 5, okay. He seemed like he was on the ground an awful lot early in the game, and which is what we wanted to do. And you know, we just have to, when we have a chance to kind of like go for the jugular, we got to get a little better at that. And but they got some playmakers. They got some guys who can get on top of you. And, you know, they got us in a defense we didn't want to be in on the long run. But that's where it all starts, up front. You know, we're experienced up front. We think it's one of our strengths, and it was definitely one of the areas that, you know, they weren't feeling too great about coming into the game, and we needed a big win there, and I think we got it.
Same up top, then Todd.
Coach, in the last month, put in a lot of second teamers in there and got the pump block. You speak to their effort of that play in the last minute.
Yeah, that was awesome. I have no idea what happened. I was taking my headset off and giving it to somebody behind me, and I completely missed it. I just wished we would have picked it up and scored.
Todd in front. Come on, Todd.
Curt, I felt only had 5 catches. I think he only broke free once. Maybe what was the defensive plan on him, and how satisfied were you with the?
Well, I think he went out, didn't he?
Second quarter, yeah.
Huh?
Second quarter.
Yeah, did return, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's hard for him to have a big day when he's not on the field.
Up until that point, though, he had
Yeah, what
kept
did
him
he
down.
have? He had 5 for 38, yeah. So, but, you know, Hemby made some you know, we did a pretty good job, and it started up front with the pressure. They got on top of us a couple times only.
Second front and Rick.
When you talk about the way your team responded to the adversity with Curtis specifically, obviously he had a couple interceptions at the beginning of the game and, 3 turnovers overall, but how, I guess, proud are you of the way that he constantly, responded to setback?
Yeah, he responded like I kind of felt like he would. I didn't think he'd be flustered by the 2 interceptions, and he wasn't. And, we had, when we had our one-on-one opportunities, we were winning. And we played well when we played with tempo, the 2-minute drive and some of the other times. And so, he's a grizzly old vet. He's got to hold on to that ball a little better in the pocket when he runs it,
Rick on your left and Daniel.
Yeah, Omar and Surratt had a number of really clutch catches. Can you talk about their play?
Yeah, they were winning their one-on-ones when it was press coverage. We were getting them the ball, and I was glad to see, Donovan won his one-on-one in a red area. That was a play we were hoping to be able to get called, against zero blitz coverage. And, we felt like that was a matchup that was in our favor going into the game, and it turned out to be that way.
Daniel in front and Jim.
You mentioned the fans. I just want to ask you how valuable you felt like the noise that they made and just their overall impact was.
Oh, it's extremely valuable. Players feed off of that energy. Look, it's all about energy, right? You gotta have energy to do anything. And the fans are supplying the energy, and the players are feeding off of that energy. And I don't know how many points it's worth, but it's really important. And I think we got everything moving in the right direction here.
Jim in front and Zach Beat.
Coach, I know you have confidence in your team on both sides of the ball, but both sides did a lot of things today, positives, and responding on the offensive end and defense stepping up when they needed to. Did you learn anything about your team today?
Well, I think you learn about your team every week. You play 12 regular season games. You learn about them in the off week too. And I thought this was a good challenge for us, and we outlasted them. And we did a lot of good things. But there's a lot of things we can do better.
Zach in front and Jack.
There's been a lot made about this being a quote-unquote new Indiana team this year. From an atmospheric standpoint and from a result standpoint on the field, do you think you guys are showing that so far this season?
Well, I don't know what the old Indiana was other than what I watched on tape or maybe looking at the record. We are what we are, and we have a blueprint and a plan and a philosophy of how to play the game. And it's all about people and processes. And, I think we got a chance to be a good football team. And, Todd Blackledge said at the end of the UCLA game that this is a good football team, Indiana. Well, you got to prove it every day, every play. So.
Jack on your right and Joe.
Hey, Curt, with Zach Gordon, I know he only had 1 catch today. It was a pretty good one, but may not show up in the stat sheet a lot. But his blocking and kind of the toughness, how important is that for the offense in terms of just blocking punishment?
Well, I'm glad other coaches kind of point that out too when they watch us on tape or scout us. How valuable he is. It's not all about his touches. He does a lot of great things for us offensively. He's really a blood and guts, a real hard-nosed, tough guy with talent. And, he's a tremendous football player.
Joe Lessman.
Coach, 150 yards on the ground. Obviously, it was tough at some points in the team, but how important is it to have that versatility with a couple guys getting in the mix?
Well, we play those 3 backs, every game, and they've been really consistent. And if we didn't turn it over 4 times,